Welcome to another episode of Drew's Sports Crew. Back here, episode 174. And we got some great stuff to talk about here on the show. Start off right. The Milwaukee Bucks made two free agent signings. Just before I got on the air, we learned Malik Beasley signed with the Pistons. So he's out of the equation now, which it seemed with the moves. And we'll touch on who those guys are, what they're going to do for the team, and just a little hint, they're going to shoot a lot of threes. That's catch and shoot wise. That's the bread and butter with the two guys they got. Go through that. The Brewers have arguably the most frustrating West Coast trip of the year. I was whining about a couple weeks ago the San Diego trip, like them having that tough West Coast trip. The teams were not as tough there. Obviously, they got the Angels on the front end. Playing in Colorado, then going to LA is brutal. 7 games, 7 days. This is gonna be a tough weekend. I hope they can win today. Take 2 out of 3 still in the realm of possibilities. It's tough. It's a tough series, and we'll touch on that. We'll touch on Yelich and Contreras are All-Star game starters. We'll talk a little bit about what kind of All-Stars I think the Brewers will have, and from there, you know the drill. We're gonna play some games, right? We are at that point of the sports. The Wisconsin sports season, let's say, not a whole lot going on otherwise. And what that means is we got to showcase our immaculate grid knowledge. I always like throwing some Brewers on grids like these. I see CC Sabathia. We see a whole lot of CC Sabathia. He won a Silver Slugger. You bet he did. He could hit. I think he won one with Cleveland. This is going to be really dumb if he didn't. He didn't. Or they had the. What was I thinking? I was thinking. He would hit, not with because they didn't have the DH, so that obviously makes sense why he didn't win it. But I was thinking with CC Sabathia, he could always hit, right? That was one of the things he was known for there. That was a waste of a guess. Let's not do that. We'll do yesterday's grid. That'll be better. That's on me. Here we go. Here's one that is a lot more. It has a lot more things we can do on it. So kick it off. What are we looking for? We see the Cubs. Usually you can throw some Brewers in there. Thought I saw Shane Victorino somewhere. Maybe I didn't. I think of Phillies and Angels. That's probably where I saw him. Cole Hamels works top left. A 30 home run season. Here's one that I always like using for them. Dominic Brown. You remember Dominic Brown? He was a Philly. I can never spell his name because it's spelled here. He did. Wow. Okay. Grids aren't going for you today, for me at least. I thought he hit 30 home runs with them. Mark Trumbo? Okay. Not even trying to have guesses that are, almost like too cute, let's say. I'm just trying to put names on there that I think are low percentage that I like. Fowler here. Know for sure that. And it works. Okay, Chase Anderson, we see him anywhere? No. I'm just going to put Gio Urshela, 3%. Philly, who's played third base, so of course Bohm's been now there for a couple of years. But any guys who filled in there, I'll just put Hamels here. Hamels is going to be high. 5%. I'm sorry, I thought that was going to be higher. Angels and Cubs. Lackey. Did Lackey? Yeah, okay, I knew that. Shocker, that one's higher. A Philly third baseman. Am I overthinking this? Did Rollins ever play third for them? I mean, that might be a stretch. Who should I put for 30 home run season? Did I just put Mike Schmidt and think that people are going to use him as a third base? That works. Okay. I feel like Biggio's played third for them. He's never played third base for them at all. That blows my mind. He was playing short there, played second. Okay. We'll just put Bagwell down. Not a good grid for me at all. As you saw, I had a 13 rarity score last time. So not good. But that's okay. We have the Immaculate Draft. We're going to redeem ourselves on this. Here we go. The Immaculate Draft. And of course, it didn't let me switch my screen. So bear with me on this. All right, let's see how this Immaculate Draft goes. Hoping for we always go for 5 out of 9. We'll see how we do here. Which MLB team has the most division titles? Right away, I thought of the Dodgers. I don't know. Yankees, maybe? Yeah, our Yankees, probably. The thing is, it's been easier to get division titles like after in the 90s when they changed how the divisions are structured. And the Dodgers have just blown that away. I'll say the Dodgers. It's probably the Yankees, but I'll say Dodgers. Atlanta Braves. Okay, Braves were the other guess I had because of how consistently they've won that. But who did the Yankees trade away in order to acquire Harrison Bader? So that was with the Cardinals, I believe. Oh, I don't know. 2022, the Yankees trade away in order to acquire Harrison Bader. Oh, I know. Jordan Montgomery. It's a 1-for-1. It was such a weird trade. All right. We're on the board. Which MLB team started the 2023 season 13-0? That was Tampa. Okay. So far, so good. In 2022, which duo became the first teammates to rank first and second in hits since 1900? Oh. Ooh. I thought of Adam Frazier I thought of like Pirates, him and Reynolds, but that doesn't make sense because that's tough. Tim Anderson and no way. I was gonna say like Anderson Abreu, but that's probably too late. I'm gonna Adam Frazier. Did he fall off by then? I'm just gonna say Adam Frazier. See if he's Trey Turner and Freddie Freeman. Okay, Turner. I could have gotten. Freeman. I don't know. Freeman's not really with hits because of how much he walks. La Tortuga is the name for which MLB player? Why can't I think of this? Oh, he is on the Twins. He was on the Twins. Will. What is it? No. He's on the Twins. He's pitched before. He's very. He doesn't walk. He walks so much. He doesn't swing at a lot of strikes, or he doesn't swing a lot of pitches out of the zone. I know who it is. La Tortuga. It's a guy on the Twins. I'm gonna go back to that one. Name this MLB player. 2006, 2007. Seattle, 2008 to 2018. The Orioles in 2019. That's a long time on the Orioles. Oh, I know who this is. This is Adam Jones. Some people forget he started his career with the Mariners. Okay. In 2023, who became the first rookie to hit in MLB history to hit 20 home runs and steal 50 bases in a season? It's not Ellie. See, Julio had that big rookie year, but that was in 2022. 2022, because I dropped him in fantasy the first month after it. That's what I'm known for. But I did win that league still, I think. Who became the first rookie in MLB history to hit 20 home runs and steal 50? Why can't I think of that? O'Neal Cruz, Ellie. I don't think either of them had that big of a numbers the last year because they didn't name this MLB player. How in the world off a cleat? Is it it's a left? Yeah, it's a righty. That's a right-handed pitcher throwing with Skechers Dodgers, maybe? I don't know. I'll say Walker Buehler. Clayton Kershaw. Okay. I thought that was I would have guessed Kershaw, but the fact that it didn't look like it was a left-handed pitching. Okay. What was the first team Rich Hill played for? We can name all the teams. Maybe Pittsburgh. He's played for Chicago. He was a Red. Did I say Tampa? I think I did. Played for Oakland. He might have started for Oakland. That'd be my guess. Tigers. Did he start with the Tigers? Ooh, I'm gonna say Oakland. I think it might be the Tigers though. The Cubs. He did start with them. I named the Cubs. All right, this is gonna be frustrating because I know who this guy is. William. No, it's none of these guys. Will be in LB history to who in the world? Why am I blanking on this one? I promise I think I'm a ball knower. This is not good though, because the rookies of the year last year, right? Well, Gunner in the AL. Was it Michael Harris? No, Michael Harris. His big thing was 2 years ago too with Strider. Um, Corbin Carroll. He was the NL Rookie of the Year. I should have gotten that. That was my fault. That was bad. Okay, I know who this is. It's not Yerman Mercedes. It's William. Yeah, I knew that one. That I just couldn't think of the guy's name. So I probably really a 4 out of 9. I should have got the Carroll one. That was kind of sloppy on my end. All right, let's get to the show. Let's talk some Wisconsin sports here. All right, on the Bucks side, we'll start there. Right, I mean, the focus this offseason was, okay, we need catch and shoot 3-point guys. We need a backup point guard, right? We need someone who can also guard multiple positions on defense. So those were kind of some themes we saw with the Bucks trying to search for guys. We saw that in the draft as well to address some of those issues. Your point guard's DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright, they got him on a 1-year deal. He's been with Washington, I'd say most notably. He's really a valuable. He's also with Miami last year, but he's valuable where he can shoot. He can shoot from 3 consistently. You know, he's a little under 40%, but I believe off the catch and shoot, he's above 40. So that's kind of where you find him to be a help. Also with his frame, he's also 6'5", so that's something like having a taller point guard has been something the Bucks have looked for as they always have. I mean, the last decade, I'd say they preferred to have length on defense, and that's kind of what Wright's going to give you. He's 32, right? He's been with a lot of teams, or I shouldn't say a lot of teams. He's been in the league for a lot of years. He should be a solid role player that I think what we're going to see him come off the bench, but he also might start a game or two. Like, that might be a normal thing we'll see throughout the year, if need be, or on back-to-backs. He's a good buy for what he was worth, the minimum of the $3.3 million at his age. So that's something that will be really nice too. But also, like, how he'll work with Damian Lillard, I think, is going to be a smooth thing, as well as he can also play off the ball too and not be a ball dominant player, right? I talked about catch and shoot threes. That's what they need out of a point guard. Pat Bev brought that swagger, you might say, or he brought that energy to the Bucks, especially in the postseason. But he wasn't always that guy they needed. You know, he wasn't this catch and shoot 40% 3-point shooter. He needed the ball in his hands. He needed to drive. He needed to do things with it. So it's nice. I think he'll be a better fit. Is right. But then also with the Bucks losing Malik Beasley, right, to the Pistons on that 1-year, $6 million deal, that means, right, that's why bring in Taurean Prince. They have signed him. I really like the signing. It's crazy. He's only 30 years old. I thought he'd be older. He's brought he played with the Lakers last year. He averaged 9 points a game. He shot 40% from 3. So I don't know if he's better than Beasley. I'd say they're similar levels. Prince is going to give you more length and also more versatility on defense. So maybe if that's a value, he might be the better fit. They get him, and he also follows the other point. I think that's a great point to bring up is he played for the Lakers last year. I mentioned, you'll see that right in the thumbnail. Right, we know who followed. Darvin Ham came back to the Bucks. He'll be an assistant coach, and you definitely like kind of bringing Prince on to the team. He's right well over 40% is what you can expect from 3 for him off the catch and shoot. Probably more off the bench. He kind of gives me. He's not like Malik Beasley. Obviously, gave you more Wesley Matthews vibes, but like I think Prince does even more just with with his length. He's 6'6". Right. We talk about him being a small forward, but I also think he'll be a valuable option for the Bucks. I'm looking forward to seeing him. He might start games. He might be a starter. That's kind of what I project. We'll kind of see how it works out. This is kind of a good fit though for the Bucks. So happy with the free agent move so far. I know not so much with the draft has been many people's thoughts on that, but Prince and Wright are your two free agent signings. Maybe they're not done. Are they gonna trade Brooke Lopez? Is Bobby gonna go? Bobby of the two of Lopez and Portis. Portis should be the one getting traded. Sorry, that's just the facts, unfortunately. But I know Brooke Lopez has not. Brooke Lopez needs to have a lesser role probably this upcoming season to provide value for himself at his age, but also provide value for the team. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Bucks. We'll report more free agent stuff as it comes out. We got to talk baseball though. We have the All-Star game here coming up now, under 2 weeks away. And we also had a frustrating 4-game series out in Colorado. I say frustrating. They split the series, but you got to love Pat Murphy. Pat Murphy, after the series, asking how he thinks his team performed. He was disappointed in the team, right? He wanted more from the team. He said they could have won all 4. You know, they won 2 of 2 or 2 of 4. Why not win 4 of 4? You know, and that's kind of the mindset where you like to see from a manager. You like to see, right? You know, why not? You want to be greedy. You know, you want to be greedy in baseball for wins. I don't care how many teams make the playoffs. The Brewers right now are fighting for that 2 seed. That 2 seed, they get that buy out of that dreaded wild card round they can't get out of, right? That's what we want. And that's going to help this team moving forward. And we have a game on Fox, you know, today. I know you're probably not listening on a Saturday, but if you're listening Monday, right? Yeah, a weekend series here in LA. This almost feels like you could easily feel like this is an NLDS game or NLCS, let's say. Like last now pitching game 1 for the Dodgers. Okay, maybe not Savali for the Brewers, but kind of seeing how this shapes out, right? I could have easily had Aaron Savali as the thumbnail too. I'll touch on that trade after we get through kind of how this week's going. But you split in Colorado. Not a whole lot of offense other than game 1. It was weird. A 3-0 win on Wednesday. Colin Ray has been the Brewers' most consistent pitcher, right with Tobias Myers. It's crazy to think about, but that is the facts as well. You get through, right? We talked about get through the series against LA. You have an off day next Monday. And then from there, you have 6 games all at home. And then we get to the All-Star break. So it's Pirates for 3, Washington for 3, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So the games on there at 7:10 Tuesday, 7:10 Wednesday. What a weird time on a Wednesday. 1:10 Thursday. Then you get 7:10 on Friday, 3:10 on Saturday, and then 1:10 on Sunday. I'll be at the game next Sunday. Don't worry. I'll be there. So that, and then we get the All-Star break, just like that. So that's a well-needed All-Star break for Milwaukee. That's kind of what we're looking for there. We do have 2 All-Star starters. I talked about Yelich and William Contreras are going to be your 2 starters for the Brewers. They won't have the All-Star game starting pitcher. I would almost guarantee that. But then bullpen. Brian Hudson, although faltered again, this is just a tough stretch for pitchers. He pitches in Coors Field, and then with the high altitude, he looked like he was burnt out, which you could say it was his innings limit, but I'm going with the Colorado narrative. I think it makes a lot more sense. But then you get Hudson there against LA, a tough matchup, gives him another run. He's going to be an all-star though. The guys who should be an all-star, if Ortiz didn't get hurt, we'd be looking at Ortiz. He might recency bias with however the manager chooses or kind of how that goes. So I don't know how. We'll see how Arizona chooses with Lovello. See what he picks for the reserves. I believe they still do it like that. But it should be, right? Ortiz should be an all-star. Terrain's going to be an all-star, no question. So that's 3. We've got another point. Hudson should be no question. That's 4. McGill's going to probably get it just because they like closers. They do. I mean, we know that. That's how it is. Brewers should have 5 all-stars. Is it going to get to 5? Maybe not. Maybe 4. Maybe it'll be 4, and we're going to be like, oh my gosh, someone got snubbed. And that's fine. That happens. But for sure 4. If there's if there's only 3, I'm going to be very upset. Because what if it's just Contreras, and then Yelich and Terang. That would be so disrespectful to one of the top teams in the National League, a top 3 team in the NL. I don't know. We'll see how that goes, but that's what we're looking at, and we'll see who they name next week on that. I'll report on that, of course, for you. But look, Baseball Reference, we talked about Bryce Terang, and the defensive metrics love him, rightfully so. Great defensive player. Had a couple of miscues this past week, whether it was like with cutoffs, trying to flip a ball where he was right next to the base, like weird things like that don't really show up in the stats. But he has a 4 WAR right now on Baseball Reference. He's on pace for like an over 7+ WAR season, which in Baseball Reference terms, that's like an MVP candidate. That's like an MVP. So that's pretty shocking to think about. I mean, you see Terang, everyday leadoff guy, plays against lefties now. Still, the numbers have stayed very high. He's 290 average, 764 OPS. He's got 28 steals, 29 walks. Yeah, he looks like an MVP. Like, I would say an MVP candidate, but he looks like, even with the home runs down, he still looks like a Silver Slugger guy at second with a Gold Glove. I think that's kind of the value is like, hey, this guy's hitting this well at second base, where second base is a position where you really don't get that kind of offensive value, unless it's a guy like Ozzie Albies with the Braves. But I think that's kind of where the value comes from, too, plus with a great defense. So we talked about Ortiz, right, being added to the IL, but Yelich almost qualifies, and he would be the NL leader in batting average. He's at 324 right now. It's actually crazy to see the numbers Yelich has right now. Like, Yelich has been playing well, right? Everybody does. Like, I would have guessed, if I didn't know, I probably would say he's probably batting around 300. Probably got like 8 home runs, 30 RBIs, 40 RBIs. But I looked at the numbers. So the numbers, it's like 9 home runs, 40 RBIs, but his OPS is over 900. He's batting 324 right now, and he's slugging 500. So that's pretty shocking to see after how his last couple of years have gone. He's got 10 doubles, 3 triples, just a lot of counting stats, 19 steals. Like he might be, or he should be a 20-30 player. It could be a 20-40 player. And that's kind of where if the Brewers are a top 3 team in the National League, he's 20-40 playing defense, keeps the offensive numbers up. That's another MVP candidate. The Contreras hype's kind of fallen off a little bit. I still would go towards him too as the Brewers MVP, but the numbers have kind of trickled down. He got the average back up to 295, but the thing with Contreras that we're seeing is his framing metrics, right? The defense, not the same as it was. It's like the Contreras defensive stats, his outs above average, whatever the framing stuff, not actually as high as you'd think. So that's just something to see. It's actually been more, he's been towards the bottom of the league in that, which is odd considering he seems a value when you watch him play. Just the framing, he likes to bring pitches. You'll see it all the time. That's down the bottom of the zone. He'll try to bring it all the way up, and it's like that doesn't help anyone. Let's talk about the Aaron Savali trade. Then I'm gonna wrap up the show. So, right, Aaron Savali came from Tampa Bay. He was actually traded from Cleveland to the Rays last year for high-end prospect Kyle Manzardo. But now we saw him go from the Rays to the Brewers. Rays gave up on him after a year. He has an ERA over 5. However, his xERA and those numbers are a full run lower, so the Brewers felt there was a shot, the pitch-in lab, get him there. And he does have a lot of movement on a curveball, his slurve, and so on. And that's kind of where like the Brewers thought, hey, there's something they could do with him. And if you saw him yesterday, he struck Ohtani out a couple times. The curveball has a lot of movement. And he can get a lot of swings and misses. The problem is he leaves the ball up. When he leaves it up, he gives up home runs. And shocker, you leave a breaking ball up and you throw it a lot on 2 strikes, your number 1 pitch. Hitters sit on it. Hitters hit it out. And that's kind of how we saw him give up some runs. Just got to kind of hone on that. He almost seemed too predictable last night. That was just me watching. I think the stuff's there. The stuff actually looked better than it did in Tampa. You just got to kind of work with getting pitches down in the zone more. And also, I don't know. I think he's got to work on the pitch mix a little bit. I kind of wouldn't mind if he added more of a cutter with his kind of repertoire. I think he kind of, like, he has more movement than Colin Ray. There's no denying that. I think the Brewers can make him into like a Colin Ray with the strikeouts, which I won't mind. Maybe get a sinker in there, have him kind of work on that pitch mix a little bit more. I don't know. Those were kind of my thoughts. The Brewers gave up their number 21 prospect in the trade, which was fine. He's having a good year with the Timberwolves. He was, and then that trade goes through. But going through with Savali here, kind of what the pitch mix looks like. I talked about the curveball. He did throw a sinker a little bit, but and with the cutter, I'm talking about like expanding more on the cutter, getting more break with it. And obviously, it's just not as easy as saying like, oh, throw a cutter more, throw it with more break. That's where the Brewers pitching lab comes in, right? I think that's kind of where he could elevate his game. But he's very similar to Ray in terms of kind of what the pitch, what he could be of, But based on like velocity and movement, actually, Baseball Savant compares him to Seth Lugo this year. And Seth Lugo this year is a top pitcher in the AL. So that's where if they can get him to do that, and maybe that's something that they saw that they could work with, that's kind of attractive to see. Tanner Bybee last year with the Guardians, who had a big year, Rookie of the Year, I believe, or was one of the Rookie of the Year candidates. Just something to note. So that is what I got in Savali, and we'll see how he works moving forward. He'll probably make his start, maybe 2 starts next week. Probably not based on the games. Probably just 1 more start for him. Maybe they shut him down and just work on him and then have him out for the All-Star break. We'll see how the Brewers navigate that. But for the price they got him at, again, cheap, and something that you don't mind. Hopefully they make more moves. They cannot be done. Dallas Keuchel still might be starting this weekend. So I'll wrap it at that. Hopefully the Brewers can salvage a game or 2 in the series. Otherwise, have a great weekend, everybody. I'll be back next week. We'll see for Journey to Million. Didn't work this last week again, right? We know the 4th of July and that should be good to go this week. We had our trip and stuff. Had some fun stuff. Had fun photos I'm sharing at True Sports Crew, Instagram, X, and TikTok. Have some fun content coming out, right? Whether it's the me ranking, they'll be this week. We're ranking LB fan bases, and who will be number 10. You could just guess. Number 1, we know who it should be, the Brewers. But on the NFL side, looking at another NFL bingo. For some reason on TikTok, it's not uploading, or it is uploading, but it's not being showed right now. There's like a little glitch right now. I'm trying to work out with them to get that video showing to the audience. So you can see it on YouTube, you can see it on Instagram, but right now not on TikTok. But otherwise, every other thing is on every platform. Check it out there. MLB Power Rankings came out today. You let me know what you think of them on social. And make sure to subscribe as well. But otherwise, that's all I got here. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.